Hey guys, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to try out MobX. So I've heard a lot about MobX, but I have not tried it, and I'm going to try it today. I hear that MobX, the one good thing about MobX, and one of the biggest things about MobX is that it takes care of a lot of manual stuff that we have to do in Redux, like all the state management and stuff. So I read that it all of that happens automatically in MobX, but I still don't know to what extent uh, like that happens. So I'm gonna try this out. This is going to be one of those videos where I'm gonna try out something that I wanted to try out for a long time, and I'm gonna just try it out and see how things work. Uh, it's a good probability that maybe I won't achieve anything in this video because I have no idea what's going to happen. Just going to read the docs and just try out stuff from this documentation. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. First, I'm going to install MobX. So MobX simple scalable state management. MobX is probably sponsored by installation. Okay, so I'm going to install both of this. Right. So I have a create React app running here locally, and I just have this hello printed out. So it's right here, hello. And I'm going to install both of these MobX and React MobX. So just copy this. Okay, so I want MobX and I want MobX React, I think. Am I right? MobX React. Okay, so let this install. So let's see. So you have one page summary, concepts and principles, and the gist of MobX. So let's go to one page. Let's see what stuff does it have. So introduction. MobX is a battle-tested library that makes state management simple and scalable by transparently applying functional reactive programming. The philosophy behind MobX is very simple. Anything that can be derived from the application state should be derived automatically. Right, I have no idea what this means. It does. React and MobX together are a powerful combination. React renders the application state by providing mechanisms to translate it into a tree of renderable components. MobX provides a mechanism to store and update the application state that React uses. Right, so basically, MobX MobX is used for a store, like to handle the store in React. That's just what he's saying. Both React and MobX provide an optimal and unique solution to common problems in application development. React provides mechanisms to optimize the UI and virtual DOM that reduces number of costly DOM mutations. MobX provides mechanisms to optimize synchronize. Okay, so with your React application by using React to virtual dependency state graph. So no, is it telling that MobX can like synchronize state? I don't know. This will all make sense only if we try out something and make something work. So core concepts, you have something called an observable state. Okay, so what is an observable state? So MobX adds observable capabilities to existing data structures like objects, arrays, and class instances. This can simply be done by annotating your class properties with observable decorator. Okay, so this is how you create an observable state. So if you do something like observable title, it creates the title field in the state. Using observable is like a property of an object into a spreadsheet cell that when modified may cause other cells to automatically recalculate. Oh, okay, this makes sense. So I think what observable does is without me binding the state with the component, it kind of takes care of all the updates by itself. So I don't need to manually say, okay, when the input changes, update the title. I don't think there's any need of any manual logic to be written. If we just add something like observable title and put this to the input, it automatically updates everything. I think that's what observable does. Okay, so I think that's what he says. The other cells automatically recalculate and the graph is re-rendered. So the component automatically re-renders instead of you saying, okay, so push this stuff into the state. If your environment doesn't support decorator syntax, don't worry. Yeah, you can read here about to set them up or skip altogether, as MobX can be used without decorator syntax by leveraging the decorator utility. Many MobX users do prefer the decorator syntax though, as it's slightly more concise. Okay, so people use decorator syntax. This is the decorator syntax, but you can use it like this also. I still don't know. This is a little class. How is it going to work with functional components is something that I should see, because I'm going to implement this in a functional component. And I read before that MobX can be used with functional components, but I don't know. Does it need more configuration? I don't know. Okay, this there's a good chance this video is just going to be reading docs. So yeah, but anyway, after this video is done, this video I'm planning to be like about 30 to 40 minutes long. After this is done, I'm going to dig deeper, and I'm going to have a smaller video in the future about maybe each and all these topics in MobX. I think MobX not like the latest state, but I really want to learn this. And making a YouTube video is one of the best way to like get deep into a topic, I think. Okay, so next, computed values. With MobX, you can define values that will be derived automatically when really or relevant data is modified. Okay, what does that mean? Can define values that will be derived automatically when relevant data is modified. Okay, by using the at computed decorator. Okay, so all these stuff they're called decorators. Okay. By using getter setter functions. Okay, you can use to decorate here. Okay, so again you can use the decorator instead of using the at syntax. Okay, so he created an observable to do's computed get unfinished to do's count. Oh, okay, I think so. Computed values is a function that is used to get data from the observable state. That is what I think his computed values are. So you can like based on the I think it's kind of like the reselect in that we use for Redux. So based on the state, you can kind of like get the value, play with it, and just instead of having this filter logic in the component, you can put this in a computed value, which is much more efficient. Okay, so yeah, I'll surely try this out. Reactions are similar to computed value, but instead of producing a new value, reaction produces a side effect for things like printing to console, making network request, increment incrementally updating the component tree. Okay, so I think you can make all your network requests in reaction. So they say it's like a side effect. So I'm thinking it's something like Redux Thunk or Redux Saga. Okay, React components. Okay, they have an example for your a to-do list. What do they have? Actions. Okay, so I think what we can do now is okay. That's it. What is all this concepts and principles, actions, principles? Okay. So it's like what stuff does it? Gist of MobX, isn't that called? Isn't that one-page summary? Okay, so they have. But okay, so there's a lot. But what I'm going to try to do is implement this to-do list using MobX React's observer in a functional component and see how everything fits. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's try that. Okay, so React components. If you're using React, you can turn your stateless functional function components into reactive components by simply adding the observer function or decorator from MobX React package. Okay. Oh, okay. So I think this is like before the hooks came in. Before hooks came in, there's no way of having state in your functional components. So I think what he's implying that if so in a stateless functional components, you can use the observer function to have a state. Okay. So anyway, I think the advantage of this is that it's reactive by itself. There's no need of any manual updates, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna have a functional component and I'm gonna try this out. Right, so I have my functional component app here. So what does he have? He has a to-do list view, that is the main component. This will be a wrap.js, and he has a to-do view which has to-do title and input. Why does he have input over here? Tasks left. Okay, okay. So let's kind of figure out what is going on over here. So you have okay. So you have store new to-do list. So that creates a store, and you're passing this as props into to-do list view, which comes over here. So this dot props dot to-do list dot to-dos dot map. Okay, where does this to-dos dot map? Does it come from here? This dot unfinished to-do count. Okay. Okay, let us kind of read what goes on over here. Observer turns React function components into derivations of the data they render. When using MobX, there's no smart or dumb components. Okay, I think smart components means components with state. Dumb components means pure functional components. They are no state. I think that's what they mean. Man, I really feel dumb reading this. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand. All components render smartly, but are defined in a dumb manner. Okay. MobX will simply make sure the components are always re-rendered whenever needed, but also no more than that. So the on-click handler in the above example will force the proper to-do view to render, and it will cause the to-do view to render if the number of unfinished tasks has changed. Okay. Okay. So first I'm going to try this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to check out the JS fiddle example. But I hope at the end of the video I make this working. So having a to-do list using the observer of MobX. So yep, let's start writing code. Let's put this over here, and then okay, so first I'm going to create the store, which we just did. So store will be new to-do list, and then we need to put this store inside our props. So instead of sending this as props, what I'm going to have I'm going to have it here itself. I'm not going to send it as props. I'm just putting this inside the component itself. Okay. If you need to send props, how will it be global? That is my other question. Is MobX meant to be a global state? I think it is. It should be a global state because there's a lot of comparisons with MobX and Redux. Okay, so by the way, how? Okay, we'll get that in later. Right, so we have this in the component. So first let us map it. So this dot props dot to do list. Okay. So I'm gonna name this to do list. Right. So everything should be the same except for this dot props because this is not coming from props in our implementation. It comes from the to do list itself, which creates the new to do list. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna copy all this and paste it over here, just like this. And next, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove all the unnecessary stuff, which is this. We don't need any this dot props, nor this dot props. Okay, and then oh, we need to add the observer. Does it kind of like accept this syntax? Oh boy, everything breaks. Why does it break? Any, okay. Parameter any props to declare, but it's never read. Experimental setup for decorators is a feature that is subject to to change in the future release. Okay, quick fix. Remove and use. Okay. What is the other? Okay, but let me just like save and see if my node breaks. Yeah, parsing error. Leading decorators must be attached to a class declaration. Okay, so yeah, so you can't add this at observer to a class to a functional component. Okay, so I think we need to do the other way. So he said something, and they said something like you can have it in two ways, right? So you can either have something like this, and also you can have something like this. You can have this using the decorate class to do decorate. Okay. Okay, so let me just Google and see uh, MobX add observable to functional component. Okay, so let us see the documentation itself. And I've gone to this before. Using MobX with React functional components and without decorators. Okay, where's the solution? There we go. React functional components are not persistent. They run from top to bottom, return some JSX, rinse and repeat. Okay. Is using MobX with functional component a big headache? I don't know. Boy, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand. Oh, there we go. In MobX, your observable needs to be live and persistent data structure and pass into your render functions. Store.name. Oh, okay, I think this is what we need to do. Yep, this is what we need to do, I think. So what we can have is, we can have something like observable name Tommy. Why don't we do that? So the to-do list will be something like observable, and you need to like observer props. How do we send the state into the foo component? Store.name. What does store mean? Oh, okay. Observer. Okay, let us see. Oh, okay. What this say? You see says over here. Oh, okay. This is the same thing that is happening there. The observer HOC decorator subscribes React components automatically to any observables that are used during render. As a result, components will automatically render, and when relevant observables change. But also make sure the component does not re-render when no relevant changes. As a result, MobX. Okay, I don't understand anything. So observable timer. So he's adding a timer data. Again, it's a class component over here that he's using. How do I not use a class component? MobX in functional components. Using MobX, can I use, okay. React hooks plus MobX to-do list. Okay. I wanted to like make this implementation done only using the documentation, but it seems that I need help of blogs. React hooks MobX is about, so okay, the same thing. What is it doing? MobX React Lite. What is that? Ah, okay. So he has created a class component. Okay, and he has created a bunch of. Okay. So this is the store from context. Okay, export default class. Date. Okay. Create context. Stores or to-do list. Okay. Okay. So I think now I understand how we need to go about using MobX. So what we need to do is we need to have the state, everything that so there are, I think the main things that are needed for a MobX state is observable, your actions, and your I think this is that's something similar to reselect that we saw, reactions, right? So these are the main things. So you can have all this inside your a class component that has all the data. So you create a class component, and then inside that you define all the fields that you want using the observable from MobX, and then you define all the actions that's are actions to kind of update the state, and this state can be given to all the components that are in your application using the context API. Right. So there in MobX, the I think the right way to like create your state is within a functional component, and you use this inside all your other. Sorry, I think I misspelled that. So you create your state in a class component, and you take this class component, you give it, you pass on this class component as props to all your functional components, right? I think that's kind of right. So properties, yeah, so that's what he's doing. So stores or to-do lists. I think that is this component right here, and he passes it in a context, which is this provider. User, okay, okay. Use observer. Where does this come from? Okay, he's using state, but why can't we just kind of like bind it? Okay, why don't we do one thing? I'm going to first try out this example using the class component. Okay, so I think look, this is like very similar. So he's using the main parent component as a class component and the other components as a functional component. Right, so I think what we can do is very simple. Um, I'm going to have this as a class component for now. So I'm going to have app as a class component, just basically have the exact example over here implemented. Uh, yeah, so I think it's something like this. Cool. I think breaks because you need a render for functional components. Right, so I think it'll be the same thing that goes on over here. Right, and then what we can do is copy this, paste it over here at the top, and then take this. So this doesn't come as props. Just gonna put this like this. Okay, why don't we pass it as props itself? So you have your index.js, I think, and then we can do like to-do list, store, right? Component is not defined, app is not defined. I didn't so I'm really, when I started learning React, I just jumped into using functional components because it was like exactly when hooks started becoming real. Everybody started using hooks, so I really didn't work a lot with class components. So there's a lot of confusion. Not a lot of confusion. Like I'm so used to functional components using the hooks, and so whenever you have this render and all this props and binding all the functions with uh, the rendering items using this, it gets a lot. Everything is like confusing for me. Okay, so component is not defined. Let me need component as well from React. So if this works out, I don't know. This in terms of implementation, we didn't do a lot of stuff in this video, I think. But let's make this work out. To-do list is not defined. But we're setting it as props, right? Why is it not defined? It says capital to-do list. Okay, where does this come from? In index.js. Oh, okay, so this is not defined. Line, yep, this is not defined. So what does he do for that? So he just say new to-do, says new to-do list. But where does this come from? Store equals new to-do list. Okay, observer. And then you just process this. But where does this to-do list come from? Okay, let us go to this JS fiddle. This really didn't work out. I'm not understanding a lot. I think maybe I'm used to like the Redux way of thinking, and now MobX is being a bit confusing. Okay. Yeah, so this is what it does. He creates all the state inside a class component. To-do list, observer. Oh, okay. He installs a bunch of stuff. Why didn't he had all this inside? So yeah. So inside. So okay. I don't know why he didn't add all this in this documentation, or maybe they added and I missed it. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so right. So what's the time? So I think half. It's like about half an hour. Okay, so it's going to become half an hour. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna like kind of stop it over here. So I'm kind of like summarize what we did in this video. So MobX is, I think it for me it needs much more study to like kind of like completely understand what is going on, because I think this was like really famous before hooks came in, right? So it's quite different, at least from what I read until now. The documentation, it's quite different from the usual Redux way of doing stuff. You have new syntax like the decorators using the at observable and all. So it's a bit confusing right now, but I'm going to dig deep into this, and in the future make a more smaller video of like kind of like brushing out uh, using MobX and see how that works out. Yeah, so this video was a good learning experience for me. Even though we didn't like in terms of code, I didn't achieve anything. Uh, but one of the main things that I learned is kind of like the process of how you go about implementing a MobX state. So step number one is you create your state in MobX using this class. So you create a class and you name and you give it the name of your state, like to-do list, and then each and every field in that state is created by using the observable. So to-do list has a list of to-dos. Um, so you use the at observable and you give it to-dos, and then you add all your actions and your computed values inside the class, and then you send this class to whichever component needs this data. So if all the components in your app need this state, you just pass it in a context, or you can just pass it using props, right? So this is one thing that I like kind of completely understood until now. The next step, what I need to understand, is kind of like binding this with your component. So this is what he does. So observable. So he just gets the data, but oh, you have dev tools as well. Cool. To do view, observe, to do finished, on click. Okay. Doesn't add any to do. How do I add to dos? Oh, there we go. Stores.todos.push. Okay, so so this is what he's doing. New to do. But I think that you need to do the same thing. You need to kind of push this. So yeah, so I think in the next video I'll just implement this and see what's going on. But so far, this is what I learned by reading the documentation. Maybe if I dig deep, I will surely understand this. MobX is really useful for making for building apps really fast. It takes away all the manual stuff. Again, a lot of stuff I don't understand, but what I understand is creating a state in MobX and passing the state to all the other components. So yeah, there's not a lot of stuff that I achieved in this video, but I did learn something about MobX. So yeah, uh, so in the future videos, I'm gonna like have a video on this, more summarizing video on MobX after I dig deep into it and see how that goes. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. And if you like videos like this of me just not knowing anything about some kind of framework or library and me trying it out, if you like this and if you like found this useful, I hope you stayed uh, till the end of this video. Yeah, so please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.